Well, I call lazy K, right? It's like the antithesis of what Chris Howder taught. So he's wrong, I'm right. I've been doing this for a long time. I mean, come on. All right, so I'm gonna go inside just so I can keep everything on the inside. So I go hands outside, circle under. I'm gonna catch across the shoulder, and this arm's gonna come out. And I swim right to here. All right? I really make sure I'm contouring her hip with my shoelaces and my ankle, and I'm active on every square inch of my legs. All right? What I see happen a lot is this inside shin will be on the outside, and we lose all of our lifting ability on her left leg. So make sure it goes into the inside right here. I monitor the wrist. What's that?
Your ankle?
Yeah, my ankle cracked. Yeah. Oh, did it again. Feel it?
Yeah, I
Oh.
can feel it.
Oh, that's nasty. Right? So once I'm in this position here, the odds of her passing to her right are pretty low, right? So I'm kind of directing her on where to go. If she's going to pass towards her left, it always will start with a cross face from her knees, okay? She has to drop this shoulder to make the pass happen. So all I'm doing is catching the wrist, open palm. I never grab it very aggressively, and I just check the shoulder here. This arm can do whatever it wants, right? If she laces, like a leg lace pass, I don't really mind that. I'm still in control here, okay? If she pulls her arm away from me, that's fine. It has to come back in to start her pass, okay? So all we're going to do is get into this position here and kind of play with her moving around a little bit so she can circle both directions, all right? And we're just going to stay monitoring here, keep myself nice and tight, just keeping that arm in control. Takes it away, right back to it, all right? And in this scenario, I want to keep myself head away, all right? So I'm terrified of my throat being choked, and my neck is very bad, so I don't want to play in here until I know I can control not being darced or not being strangled, okay? So we'll go close guard. Always have inside control. If I do it from here, I'm going to miss a lot of the details of catching that inside arm. So I'm going to come under, right here. All right, active shin. I want to have my knee on the floor unless she stands up. So if she's driving down, my knee is rested on the floor. So if she goes to push my leg to the ground, all right, it's already on the ground. That's pretty easy, right? All right, let's try that. Ready? Now we're going to go in. So here's my rule. I don't want to force K-guard, okay? So my personal opinion is I never choose what guard I play, right? She does for me. Because a guard is a wall. Right? A guard is what's stopping someone from guard passing. And so if I choose, then she chooses how to pass based off of that guard. So I keep it really open. And so this is one of the few guards I can initiate. So I'm always going from close guard, and I'm just playing from here, right? We have a couple options from here. If she tries to come forward and this elbow flares, right, she's going to get kimura'd. That's why I always monitor the wrist, okay? So if she drives forward with this lead leg and gets heavy here, that's when I'm going to underhook the leg, right? So this is where our K-guard really starts to happen. I want to frame underneath her arm so she can't cross-face me as I dive under. So my hand goes on the shoulder, and it pummels underneath. I'm diving under, and I bring her knee to my sternum. All right, I go to this gable grip with a nice chop, and this grip is super important. I want my right arm to have a parallel forearm to the ground. I want my left arm to be driving inside to my ribs. Now from here, my bite is just on top of her calf muscle, and that allows me to keep a really tight bite. If I bite on her calf, her leg will disappear. It's gone, right? If I bite right in her knee pit under her calf, so pull away, like pull me, there you go, like drag. Right? I can keep a bite really well, okay? And this is where our first technique comes into play. We're going to do backside 50-50, okay? So we start from closed guard. I pummel my hands inside. It's super non-aggressive, all right? I'm not trying to break her down. All I'm doing is coming in here. And all I'm going to do is switch my hips into this kind of open K-guard, right? I'm looking for a lead leg coming in. I'm going to underhook it, pass underneath, and get to my grip and hug right here, right? The cool thing about K-guard is if shit hits the fan and I straighten my legs, she lands back in my guard. So drive your left knee to the mat. I go, oh, I get right back into it. All right? So again, I underhook so deep I can touch my own hair, but I gable grip, my ear's touching her outside of her knee, and I'm hugging nice and tight right here, right? So the first one's gonna be I'm gonna kick her away from me, or the feed is she's trying to run away from it, right? All I'm gonna do is step out and step behind, okay? So now I have my leg framing on her bottom, right? I got my shoelaces still active. This leg now is going to open her legs. So my foot goes to the floor and it kicks her this way. That makes room for my legs to figure 4. Okay. I still want to hold very tight on her calf so she can't run away from me. And I want her leg on the ground. So I can't have her leg on top of me. It's all next to me. From here, I still hold super tight with my right arm. My left arm's going to swim through. And I want her shin to be almost perpendicular to the ground, as much as I possibly can. From here, I'm going to go crunch up, and I want to drive her toes really heavy into the mat. Okay? I don't want to heel hook a lazy foot. Now I have to rotate a ton, and she feels strong. If I push my triceps to the mat and drive her heel to her butt, right, it gets way tighter, right?
Yeah.
All right? So I want her to know this is absolutely awful. All right? So no confidence here. I squeeze. I drive it to the floor. It's already very tight. From here, I get my butterfly grip, or however I want to grip, table grip, depending on their leg length. And I'm not going to rotate. I'm going to arm bar, okay? Or knee bar. I'm just going to hip into it. Everything stays isolated. I want my nose touching my fingers, and I'm going to just add a hip into it. It's a very small movement. Anytime we rotate a heel hook, we're telling them which way to gate or roll. I never want to roll, make them roll. I want to drive them into the floor. All right? Everything nice and tight. Tighten up. Everything gets compacted. Now we just hip in, and everything explodes, and we all die. So, that's a lot of shit. Okay. Pummel inside. Lazy position. She drives forward. Everything goes under. We catch. All right, nice and tight. She runs away. I step. I kick her leg. Figure 4. I have to stay tight here. If I let go and then try to pummel for the heel hook, it's gone. So I get really tight with my bottom side arm. And this should be like a forceful drag. Like I'm not trying to make room for my arm to slide through. Right? I want to force my arm through. And I want to drive down. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. And I want to drive down really heavy. Right? And now everything is so tight that a small motion finishes the heel hook. Okay? I want us to focus more on entering the backside 50-50 and less on finishing the heel hook, because that's a whole other class. And we're going to do 2 more K-guard transitions that are a little bit more complicated, but are probably more practical for everyone to use. So get used to getting your head pendulumed in, getting your hair to your hand, nice tight bite, step behind, and then figure 4. I don't care about your braking mechanics from there. If you feel confident, brake. Don't brake. If you feel confident, go to the tap. If you don't, just feel comfortable just getting into the position. Yes, sir.
How much do you care about the depth of that knee when you're first dropping into K? Like at first you were pretty far out.
Yeah.
You didn't get it deep until you went under that leg. Is that?
Which, the steps over?
No, sorry.
Or the bottom leg?
When you first drop into K, your knee drops down.
Oh, yeah.
How deep does that knee?
Yeah, so I like to have like a really deep knee. You know, the more I can get my knee inside between her legs, the more she gets shelved on top of my shin, right? So every time I move myself like this direction, the shelf becomes like weaker and weaker and weaker. So it's harder to hold a bigger person's weight if I don't really get that inside, okay? So a lot of us can't just bend our leg, and so we have to move our bodies to accommodate that. And when we switch our head-hip position, that puts our leg in a better spot to carry weight, right? Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's try it. Ready? Yeah. A technique that's part of a flow or part of like a 3-point practice. The feed is dependent, okay? If Heather drives forward into me and never allows me to elevate her leg, then I'm not gonna opt for a heel hook because it's not available to me, okay? If she drives far away from me, I can step over for the heel hook, okay? So when we learn any series of techniques or submissions, it's really important that we understand that if it feels wrong, it's probably a bad feed, right? So it's really important that the person who's giving the feed understands that, and the person doing the technique understands that not every technique is good for every application, right? We have a certain set of scenarios that work for every technique. And so it's really important to be smart enough to separate what's gonna work and what's not gonna work, and when it's applicable and when it's not, okay? So everyone did great getting in. The heel hooks were a mess, but that's okay. Obviously, Jay's class was terrible because...
Hey.
So, we're going to get inside, right? We're framing. We're pretty lazy here, right? And again, if she doesn't drive forward, I'm not going to dig and get that leg. It's not worth the squeeze, right? It doesn't matter. I know where she's going to go from here. If she stands up from here, then she's giving me the leg. Right? If she just postures up from here, I'm pretty patient. Right? She has to either stand and knee cut, really. And knee cut's hard with this on the hip. Not impossible. It poses a threat. Or she has to drop her inside her lead shoulder and try to smash pass through. Okay? So I'm going to use all those scenarios to my benefit. Okay? But let's go with the same kind of train of thought. She tries to power through it, and I get to my underhook, but now she sits heavy on her heel. Right? She knows she's not about to get the leg lock. Right? So I can't get the leg, her heel's to her butt, and she's just a giant woman, and I just can't push this up. Okay? So I'm staying pretty comfortable here. Okay? I have to understand that the killer of the K-guard is the crossface. If she's able to go ahead and crossface, right now I can't do much. Now I'm getting smashed. Okay? So I'm monitoring the crossface still through the underhooked leg. Okay? I'm going to catch the wrist, and if she pulls it away, I'm going to let her have it. I know where it's going to come back to, right? She has to crossface for us to work. I'm going to block, monitor the crossface, catch the wrist if I can. Now I'm going to go deep. I can't Kimura here because her leg's in the way, but it's the same idea. I'm going to block the shoulder and control the wrist. Right? And now the same flower sweep we just did, we're going to turn ourselves inside and take her to the trap post. Right? I'm not going to stop here. I just want to talk for a second. So from here, once I feel she's getting tippy, I'm going to abandon position and go back to guard, which becomes mount. Oh, I like that. Do that all the time. When I do anything for the rest of the time we're here. Everyone go. I'm fucking cool. I have very low self-esteem. So, inside position, lazy K. Right? She drives and she's like, oh, fuck you. Not going to work. Right? I'm going to catch the wrist. It's surprisingly kind of a strong grip here. Right? I have enough reach where she can pull her arm away. Right? And I can tighten up. Once I grab the shoulder, I have a lot more control. Right? I'm going to grab deep inside of her armpit, and I'm going to pull her shoulder open. My feet go over my head. Once I'm here, I know the sweep is going to happen. So I'm going to kind of like dick punch her. Right? So I'm going to drive myself into her and take mount. Punch her with your kick. So, for half I think punching in the dick is legal. Sub only, come on. Not Nikki. So, inside control, shoulder, wrist, lazy K, she drives forward, she shuts that shit down. Right? The wrist is right there. If she moves her wrist to that side of me, well, she's giving me the leg. So she has to keep it here. So stay heavy on your heels, but move your arms to that side of me. Right? So it's going to be there. I'm just going to grab it. If she pulls it away like super aggressively, that's fine. It has to come back. Right? If I pull hard down here and she postures up hard, I have the leg again. Right? The feed dictates everything. So we're here. We have the wrist. I go deep into the armpit. Like really try and scoop and feel that little moisture. Pull it down. All right, I'm pulling my elbow to the mat. My feet go over my head. I'm turning inside. Once I get to here, she can no longer stop the sweep from happening. I straighten my legs and land in mount. Wow. Yeah, thank you. My ego is so good right now. I love it. All right. You see it again, or are we good? One more time? Yeah. Who said that? Okay, yeah, for you, of course. All right, so close guard, inside control, shoulder, wrist, lazy K. She drives forward, shuts that shit down. I grab the wrist, grab the armpit. It's moist. Feet go over my head. Look, watch my head. I'm looking at her wrist. I'm looking away from her wrist. Once we're upside down, she can't stop it. I just straighten my legs back to guard, which becomes mount. Cool. It's fucking easy. Let's try it. Ready? I'm going to have no momentum. I'm going to move myself up and do a backward roll without having my hands on the mat. Right? So it's that same idea that I want to be able to exit that direction. So I have my K guard, right? I gotta make sure I'm loaded. If I wanna take a heavy mass from this side to this side, I can add a super long lever on this side, which is how we accomplish the flower sweep, right? This outside leg does that big kick. Flower sweep. Or I transition the weight. So my big heavy Heather's over here. My little person's over here. I want to switch that. So the more I dive myself this direction, the more she falls into this void. Right? If a sweep is done with the right timing and the right balance of weight, she just falls to the mat. She can't stop that from happening. Okay, let me finish her sweep. So, how do we help that? I want to make her, Heather talked about this yesterday in her class, so if you missed both of our classes, then you suck. So if I want Heather to drive over my head, how should I make that happen? Yeah, I'm going to push her away from me. All right? And maybe that is the threatening the leg lock. Okay? We tend to, at my school, we teach sweeps like judo, right? I'm never going to grab somebody in a gi and do a hip throw or some weird judo name thing and just do it, right? We always kind of either rock or we step a little bit, you know, and so I'll have like a butterfly sweep. If I do like a simple butterfly sweep, I can do it from a vacuum. It's challenging. But if I have us rock, we go ready, 1, 2, move on. It's much easier because it's much more realistic. Like, we're not going to rock and roll, but I'm going to sweep on that timing, okay? So if we're struggling with any sweep ever, the weight management is off, right? Let's work on understanding that the more I can get myself underneath somebody and I can pass her weight from side A to side B, she's going to naturally fall to side B, okay? So we have one more K-guard position. We're going to do a back take from K-guard. And I like this one a lot because it's kind of free, right? Like, meaning like it doesn't cost you a lot to try. The point of failure is pretty low, and it always reverts back to closed guard. So the same exact entry, the same position. And we're still going to catch the arm here, okay? So this time, her base is too strong. I just can't make it work. I'm going to take my sweaty fingers and go from over to under. Okay? I'm going to go under her arm and squirt through this hole. Alright? So I'm holding her wrist. It kind of feels like a twister. Right? I'm going to hold her wrist. This arm comes all the way, armpit to armpit, trading moistures. And then I'm going to squirt out the top. So my legs are like straightening. We're going to go to the back. That would have been so helpful on Wednesday. Last day of camp, I'm hungover. All right, ready? So, inside control, lazy K, she drives forward to catch the wrist. She's not buying into any of my bullshit, right? This arm's gonna go inside, and I'm gonna straighten my top leg, or my left leg. Squeezing through. It's really tight. All right? I can hold here for a while now. I'm gonna grab in front of her face, on her far arm. If I can't, I have like monkey arms. This might not work for everybody, but I get across, right? And now it's just an arm drag. If she leaves her arm where it is, because I'm dropping my lat heavy, it feels very uncomfortable. Then we go to the back. And we finish however we'd like from the back. Everyone's like, fuck off. All right, so. You squirt out the back. Not anywhere. Just relax your body and just squirt out holes. Fuck, this sounded horrible. Yeah. All right. Inside control. Man. Squirt all over your partners. What allows me to grab this wrist? Fucking jiu-jitsu allows it. She has to put it there. Right? There's not many other options. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to go for that sweep, and she says, no, it's not going to work. I'm going to go inside. I straighten my arm and leg in this fucking stupid position. And I swim my arm through. All right, I want to like pull her hand off of her body. All right, this is super normal. Just hang out like this. Right? So now, I have to alleviate the pressure, so I reach across her face and start squirming my way out. If she pulls her arm back, so I fucked it all up, put your arm back across. We're just doing it again. Alright? So the point of failure is return to closed guard. Cut the wrist, come through, straighten our leg, dive through, get across the face, start turning, right to the back. Now you guys can ooh and ah. Ooh. Fuck yeah! Should we try it? Last piece. Alright, ready? Super complicated movements, and we try to master them all in like an hour. It's crazy. I mean, it's just not practical. We have to understand that like the cool thing I enjoy about K-guard is it almost always fails to guard, right? And so we end up in this cycle where we're going to go from setting up my K-guard from closed guard. It fails horribly because Heather's really good. I go back to closed guard and I hip out again. And she's getting really frustrated because I'm going back to the same thing over and over and over again. And so we have to be prepared to not be able to do things quite well after an hour, right? Especially when we're talking about complicated movements. And so I love to put things together that maybe aren't always super practical or realistic, but they challenge how we move and how we work around a body. If we can understand these complicated techniques, even in kind of a kata, right? It's a kata, where it's a cooperative drilling effort. If we can understand complicated movements in that position or in that like drill, we can adapt later on. And we start picking up little things here and there. Okay? So the big emphasis, real quick to close, for our K-guards, it has to be getting my bottom side shin as deep as I possibly can get. Right? So ideally, I want to have my foot on the kidney area wrapped around, and I want to have my knee so deep that it's out the back door. All right? I accomplish that by opening my hips wide and by pulling the knee in nice and tight. If we are entering the legs, we cannot get lazy with our arms. Okay? This is the equivalent of getting 80% of the way past the guard and then celebrating. All right? Which we all do that. We're like, I'm there, and then you celebrate, and the guy shrimps, and he hip escapes, and we're done. Right? So we have to make sure we understand what our point of failures are for all of our techniques. Break it down to the simplest point of failure. Like what is absolutely necessary to regain a dominant position if everything goes wrong. And so we're looking at outside knee outside, nice tight bite. We can play from there. Right? We have some great questions. And I love questions. Like what if the guy does this, what if he does this, what if he does this? We should have an answer for all of it. Right? My goal is not to, very traditional jiu-jitsu says, we're going to high five knuckles, I'm going to have a plan, I'm going to implement that plan, and I'll be so good at it and so powerful that you can't stop me from doing it. I can't do that. I'm not good at that, right? So I cast a broad net. I'll eat whatever I catch, right? And so I'm looking at finding positions that allow me to funnel you. If you have 12 options from here, and I do this, you have 6 options, maybe 8 options, right? If you connect to me with a shin on shin, now your options are more and more limited, right? So the game is always reduction of options, and then it's a guessing game, right? I can get down to 2 or 3 options. I can guess where you're going. And if I know where you're going before you go there, it's a lot less effective. I'm going to let you get almost there, and then I can counter. So I'm not going to stop you from pulling your arm away from me. I'm not going to stop you from basing out to stop the leg lock. It's my job not to be stronger, faster, or bigger than you. It's my job to be smarter than you. All right? Thank you, guys. That was fun.